Today we're going to talk about, before you eat breakfast, the truth about oatmeal, eggs, bacon, and dairy. Now, breakfast is the first meal of the day, but there are some truths and myths about the foods that we all associate with breakfast. Specifically,
Could the hot cereal you ate this morning secretly be feeding cancer cells inside your body? Many adults over 50 unknowingly choose breakfasts that spike blood sugar, fill the body with harmful heavy metals, or even bring in mold-made toxins linked to higher liver cancer risk. Don't panic, stay here, because in seconds you'll hear about a grain already in your pantry that helps slam the door on tumor-building blood vessels: whole, steel-cut oats. By the end, you'll have 4 powerful, research-backed breakfast grains to strengthen your defenses and 4 risky picks to limit, or ditch, to protect the healthy life you've worked so hard to build. If you're in treatment, in remission, or determined to stay that way, the wrong breakfast can undo weeks or months of careful work. 1 insulin spike, 1 hidden mold toxin, or 1 healthy-looking refined cereal can hand cancer the fuel it craves. The good news: smarter choices, guided by Dr. William Lee's angiogenesis research, can help starve tumors by limiting their blood supply, calm inflammation, and stabilize hormones that cancers often exploit. In the next half hour, you'll learn about 4 super breakfast foods for stronger immunity, steadier blood sugar, and anti-angiogenic power, as well as 4 common but risky breakfast staples that can sabotage treatment. Clear portions and easy grocery kitchen hacks that cut certain toxins by about 40 to 60%. Simple glycemic comparisons, so you can pick the steadier option at a glance. A 30-second pantry audit to lock the changes in. A 1-page daily plan with quick swaps, and how each simple chain fits our food as defense framework against disease. Healthy breakfast number 1, steel-cut oats, or thick old-fashioned oats.
I'm just telling you, oatmeal is actually good for you, but you want to actually get a good oatmeal. So let's talk about the different kinds of oatmeal that are out there. So you probably have seen steel-cut oatmeal, steel-cut oats, or oatmeal from steel-cut oats. And this is probably the best kind of oatmeal to have. You know why? Because it has the least amount of processing. As we know, when you actually have whole foods that are not very processed and definitely not ultra processed, that's the best form for your actually health. So what are actually steel cut oats? Well, oats are from the plant. They're these little kernels. And what to get steel cut oats, what they do is they toast the oat kernels and then they cut them into pieces with a steel blade. All right, chop, chop, chop. And then when you buy them, they're just ready to be soaking in water, like hot water, boiling water, and you can cook them. It takes in water maybe 30 to 40 minutes to actually cook them when you're stirring them. All right. But then they actually hydrate. In other words, they soak up the water and they're nice and soft, and you've got some nice oatmeal. This is something you can actually do, by the way, the night before with steel cut oats. Something easy to prepare for the next day. So then you just open up the fridge and heat some up. All right. So steel cut oats are probably the best.
Steel-cut oats, or thick old-fashioned oats, are a smart first move for breakfast, especially for older adults trying to steady blood sugar and protect the heart while supporting overall cancer defense. Unchecked morning sugar spikes can drive big insulin surges that some cancers exploit, and they can fuel inflammation that makes recovery harder. Oats flip that script because they're rich in beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that lowers LDL, bad cholesterol, and smooths out the post-meal glucose rise. According to a meta-analysis in Nutrients, about 3 grams of beta-glucan per day, roughly 40 to 50 grams of dry oats, depending on the type, produces clinically meaningful LDL reductions. Processing matters, too. Less processed oats hit your system more gently. The International Glycemic Index tables published in Diabetes Care place instant oat porridge around the low 80s, high GI, while traditional porridge from steel-cut or thick-rolled oats lands closer to the low 50s, which means smaller insulin spikes. Big public health groups point the same direction. Organizations like the World Health Organization and the American Cancer Society encourage fiber-rich whole grains as part of an overall cancer preventive eating pattern. For a practical bowl that hits the beta-glucan target, cook about 1/4 cup dry steel-cut oats, or 1/3 to 1/2 cup thick-rolled, in a 1:3 ratio of oats to water for 20 to 25 minutes until chewy. That texture slows digestion and helps keep glucose steady. Top with a small handful of berries and a spoonful of pumpkin seeds for antioxidants and minerals without added sugar. If mornings are hectic, batch cook on Sunday and reheat, or make overnight oats with plain, unsweetened milk or fortified plant milk. Skip flavored instant packets. Those are pre-cooked, finely milled, and often sweetened, which drives up glycemic impact. Keep a box of plain instant oats only for true emergencies, then flavor with cinnamon or vanilla instead of sugar. The payoff is simple but real: steadier energy, calmer appetite, and a breakfast that supports, not sabotages, your larger treatment and recovery goals. Healthy breakfast number 2: tofu spinach scramble in olive oil.
We're talking about protein, and now we're talking about foods that contain protein, but also have other benefits and clinically shown connections to longevity as well. Food number 2, tofu and soy foods. These are foods made from soybeans. Tofu is made from soybeans. And let's talk about tofu, for example. Now, you can go to the grocery store and very easily in the refrigeration section, you can actually find soft tofu versus firm tofu. But that's not all there is. There are lots of different types of tofu. If you go to an Asian grocery store, all right, there are these big mega stores with Asian groceries. You'll find not only the soft tofu and firm tofu, but you'll also find tofu skin. You'll find different types of fermented tofu. You'll find fermented soybeans, but it's got the highest level of genistein, which is a phytoestrogen that's good for cutting off the blood supply to cancer. It's very beneficial for our health defense system. So fermented foods, as you know, is a probiotic food like natto. Now you get all the other benefits of the protein from the soy foods as well.
If you're over 60 and trying to keep blood sugar steady while supporting treatment and recovery, a tofu spinach scramble is a smart, non-grain breakfast. Firm tofu gives you high-quality plant protein with all 9 essential amino acids to help maintain muscle, while baby spinach adds iron, folate, and lutein for eye and brain health. Traditional soy foods are also safe for most people with a history of breast cancer, and higher soy intake has been linked with better outcomes in large survivor cohorts. For example, a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reported that women who ate more soy foods after diagnosis had improved breast cancer survival compared with those who ate the least, as well as less recurrence of cancer. Another diverse study in the journal Cancer found that higher dietary isoflavone intake was associated with lower mortality in breast cancer survivors. The American Cancer Society notes that traditional soy foods like tofu can be part of a healthy diet during and after treatment, though you should always follow your own care team's guidance. Here's exactly how to make it work. Drain a 7 to 8 ounces block of firm or extra firm tofu, pat it dry, and crumble it with a fork. Warm 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil in a nonstick pan over medium heat. Add the tofu with 1/4 teaspoon turmeric, for color and extra polyphenols, and a pinch of black pepper, to aid polyphenol absorption. Cook 3 to 4 minutes, stirring until steamy. Fold in 2 cups of baby spinach, and a tablespoon of minced onion or scallion. Cook just until the greens wilt, 60 to 90 seconds. Finish with a pinch of iodized sea salt. Iodine supports thyroid health as we age, and a squeeze of lemon for vitamin C, which helps with iron uptake from the spinach. Plate it with a few cherry tomatoes or sliced avocado for extra potassium and healthy fats. Portion in swaps. 1 block of tofu makes 2 senior-size servings, approximately 18 to 20 grams protein each. If you need calcium, choose calcium-set tofu. Look for calcium sulfate on the label, watching sodium. Season with garlic powder, smoked paprika, or nutritional yeast instead of extra salt. Sensitive to soy or on thyroid medication? Many people can include moderate soy, but timing matters. Have soy foods several hours away from thyroid pills, and check with your clinician if you have specific restrictions. This breakfast keeps carbs low, stabilizes morning glucose, and delivers protein, iron, and polyphenols in under 10 minutes. Exactly the kind of plate that supports steady energy and the body's natural defenses. Healthy breakfast number 3: veggie egg omelet with tomato and olive oil.
Let's talk about eggs. For breakfast, here's what you need to know about eggs. Eggs are a breakfast staple. Eggs are healthy. Thumbs up on eggs. They're a great source of protein. They're also a great source of something called choline, choline. Choline is something that your brain needs to signal. If your brain cell wants to signal another cell, it needs choline to do that text messaging. And eggs are also a great source of bioactives called lutein and zeaxanthin. All right. Lutein and zeaxanthin. These are great for aging eyes. They protect your vision against a condition called wet macular degeneration, wet AMD, age-related macular degeneration. Most common cause of vision loss over the age of 60. So if you're watching this and you're over the age of 60, you should be having lutein and zeaxanthin.
A veggie egg skillet built with ripe cherry tomatoes, baby spinach, and extra virgin olive oil is a fast breakfast that delivers steady energy, meaningful protein, and highly usable antioxidants. According to a study in the International Journal of Obesity, starting the day with an egg-based meal increased fullness and led to lower calorie intake later compared with a starchy breakfast, which is exactly what most older adults want for appetite control and stable blood sugar. A research study in the British Journal of Nutrition also showed that lycopene, the red pigment in tomatoes that helps protect DNA, is absorbed better when tomatoes are gently cooked, especially in the presence of a little fat. That's the beauty of this skillet. The olive oil doesn't just add flavor, it helps your body actually use the tomato's lycopene. Here's the exact build, tuned for seniors. Warm 1 to 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil over medium-low heat until it shimmers, then add a small handful of halved cherry tomatoes with a pinch of salt and cook for 2 to 3 minutes until they soften and gloss. Toss in a generous cup of baby spinach and stir just until wilted. Crack in 2 large eggs and scramble gently, keeping the heat moderate so the oil doesn't smoke and the eggs set softly. Finish with black pepper and a squeeze of lemon to brighten the plate and boost iron absorption from the greens. The base serving lands around 12 grams of protein. If your goal is the muscle maintenance sweet spot of roughly 25 to 30 grams at breakfast, add 1 extra egg white while cooking, or plate the scramble with a heaping spoon of cottage cheese, or a few slices of smoked tofu on the side. For extra anti-inflammatory support, dust the eggs with a pinch of turmeric and a crack of black pepper as they cook. The pepper helps you use curcumin more efficiently. If your mouth or throat are tender from treatment, splash in a tablespoon of water to make the eggs extra soft and serve them warm, not hot. If reflux bothers you, swap some tomatoes for roasted red peppers, which many find gentler. Make this skillet medication smart and aging-friendly with a few small habits. If you use a blood thinner, keep your spinach portion fairly consistent day to day so your care team can dose vitamin K reliably. If you take thyroid medication first thing in the morning, eat any soy add-ins, like tofu, several hours later to avoid absorption interference. If your immune system is suppressed, cook eggs fully until no liquid remains, or choose pasteurized eggs for extra safety. Watching sodium? Lean on herbs, chives, dill, basil, or smoked paprika instead of more salt. Need extra calories without a sugar surge? Add a few avocado slices. Need fewer calories? Use a non-stick pan with just a teaspoon of oil and load up the greens. Batching and variety keep this breakfast easy. Pre-wash spinach and keep a container of halved cherry tomatoes ready to go. The skillet then takes about 8 minutes, sink to seat. For a Mediterranean twist, finish with oregano and a few olives. For a garden version, fold in mushrooms or zucchini. For a brighter morning, top with a spoon of salsa verde. You'll walk away with a warm, savory plate that supports satiety, supplies protective plant compounds in a form your body can absorb, and helps you meet the higher protein targets that become more important with age, without relying on added sugar. Healthy breakfast number 4: Chia cocoa overnight pudding, plant-based, low glycemic, high fiber.
You can find them in walnuts and tree nuts or chia seeds. All right, all of these sources, natural sources of omega-3s, can actually lower inflammation. Now, let's talk about another category of foods that can help keep hormones in balance, and that is your omega-3 fatty acids. Sometimes they're called PUFAs, P-U-F-A. That stands for polyunsaturated fatty acid, okay? And the name is accurate. These are healthy fats. Now, you can get these healthy fats from plant-based foods, okay? You get the precursor, linoleic acid. Chia seeds have them as an example. When you eat them, your body has to convert the linoleic acid from the chia seed. It converts it into omega-3s, all right? And it's actually a useful thing if you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan to know that seeds like chia seeds can actually be a good source of omega-3s.
High morning sugar swings can drain energy and make appetite harder to control. Chia helps you start steady. According to research studies, adding chia seeds to the diet of older adults with type 2 diabetes lowered systolic blood pressure and reduced inflammation markers without harming glucose or lipids. A research study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition also found that chia reduced the post-meal rise in blood sugar and kept people fuller longer. 2 wins for a calmer metabolism at breakfast. To make it, stir 2 tablespoons of chia seeds into 3/4 cup unsweetened soy or almond milk, with 1 teaspoon unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, and a tiny pinch of salt. Mix well, wait 5 minutes, stir again so it doesn't clump, then cover and refrigerate at least 30 to 60 minutes. Overnight is easiest. In the morning, top with a small handful of raspberries or sliced strawberries and 1 teaspoon chopped walnuts or pumpkin seeds. You'll get creamy texture, slow-release carbs, plant omega-3 ALA, fiber for your gut, and polyphenols from cocoa and berries, all without added sugar. Helpful tweaks. If you're new to high-fiber foods, start with 1 tablespoon chia for a few days, then move up to 2 tablespoons. If you need extra protein, whisk in 2 to 3 tablespoons of plain Greek-style yogurt, or a scoop of unsweetened soy yogurt, right before eating. For a warmer version, loosen the pudding with a splash of hot water and microwave 15 to 20 seconds to take the chill off without cooking it. If you take blood-thinning medications, keep portions moderate and check with your clinician, since chia is naturally rich in omega-3 ALA. Coming up, the 4 worst breakfast foods seniors should skip, why they backfire, and what to eat instead, so mornings help recovery instead of hurting it. Risky pick number 1. Flavored instant oatmeal packets.
You've got instant oatmeal, and this is what I told you I grew up with, all right? These are super ultra processed. I would never feed it to a family today. It's the least desirable if you actually have a choice of rolled oats or steel cut oats. And the reason is that's ultra processed. And these oats are convenient. I got to tell you, this oatmeal is very convenient. They come in packages, and they're labeled in boxes, and they've got, cinnamon, they've got maple flavor, they come with apple pieces. Because they're often packaged in plastic, watch out. This ultra processed food packaging can actually contain microplastics that get shed in there. So this is another reason I'm giving you the caution that the ultra processed version of oatmeals are not the most desirable one. Now, these instant oats are pre-cooked, all right? They're rolled flat, they're cut into small flakes, all right? They're super fast to prepare because they're basically cooked and they're tiny, so they actually cook quickly. And they actually then are pre-portioned out into servings, and then additives are put into the package, all right? They might add sugar, they might add artificial flavoring, they might add preservatives, they might add artificial coloring. That's definitely not for the healthiest form of oatmeal. And sometimes they've got little bits of fruit that might be in there, like dried apples. And again, that's dried apples is ultra processed from someone else, some other company that put them in, and they're mixing them all together. And if you look at the side of the package, you'll see all those ingredients that are in there. So definitely check the ingredients and make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you're actually eating. Now, instant oatmeal cooks super fast, just a couple of minutes, boom, you're done. They're kind of mushy because they're already pre-cooked and pretty massaged. And so that's not really the ideal way, but they're super convenient. And that's really what led us down this path of eating a lot of ultra convenient food, cheap and fast. But now we know cheap and fast may not be the best way to actually have your breakfast. You'd rather, like every other meal, have a little bit of the less processed food, have the whole food. That version is best.
Flavored instant oatmeal packets look heart smart, but they're pre-cooked, finely milled, and sweetened. 3 strikes that send blood sugar soaring and can leave you hungrier an hour later. According to Diabetes Care, instant oat porridges commonly fall in the high glycemic range, while traditional steel-cut or thick rolled porridge sits much lower, a big difference for insulin load and morning inflammation. The good news is you can keep the comfort without the spike. Soaking plain oats overnight led to a gentler next morning glucose and insulin response, which is exactly what most older adults want for steady energy and appetite control. Here's the exact build, tuned for seniors who want fast and stable. Stir 1/2 cup dry steel-cut oats with 1½ cups water and a pinch of salt. Simmer 20 minutes until chewy, or use 1/3 to 1/2 cup thick old-fashioned oats for a quicker stovetop. If mornings are busy, make true overnight oats. Mix 1/2 cup plain rolled oats with 3/4 cup unsweetened milk, dairy or fortified soy, almond, 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, and a splash of vanilla. Chill at least 6 hours. At the table, skip syrup and add 1/4 cup berries, plus 1 tablespoon pumpkin seeds or walnuts to slow digestion and add minerals. Need extra protein for muscle maintenance? Fold in 2 to 3 tablespoons plain Greek-style yogurt or unsweetened soy yogurt right before eating. Sensitive teeth or a sore mouth from treatment? Warm the bowl gently with a little water so it's soft, not hot. Gluten sensitive? Choose certified gluten-free oats to avoid wheat contamination. For batchers, cook once on Sunday, portion into jars, and chill. The cool down increases resistant starch, which may blunt the glucose rise even more. This way you get the comfort of oatmeal, the fiber target that supports heart and metabolic health, and the steadier blood sugar your body needs, without the hidden sugar trap of flavored packets. Risky pick number 2, white toast, bagels, and breakfast. Pastries, refined wheat.
Let's talk about the most common kinds of bread that you find in the grocery store. And the problem that starts is because most of them are mass-produced, factory-made, ultra-processed foods, all right? Now you know already that ultra-processed foods aren't good. And when bread, which could be very easily baked, right? You think about it. If you actually make the dough, make it rise, and put it in the oven and bake it. That's it. It's been done for thousands of years, right? It's a rustic tradition. Nope, that's not a factory. The factory actually has to machine it and add all kinds of stuff to it. And that's where you actually get the problems. Refined flour and added sugar and all these additives and chemical preservatives. These are all things that you don't want to have in your body, all right? So I want to actually kind of unpack this for you and help you take a closer look at what some of the problems are with grocery store factory-made bread. All right. Now, the first thing is that when you walk into the grocery store, right, I always tell people first go to the produce section, see what's fresh, what's a seasonal, load all that up there. Now you know you got the good stuff that you should be getting before you go anywhere else. All right. But eventually you're probably going to get to that bread section, and there's two choices usually in today's bakeries or grocery stores. Number one, a lot of grocery stores have their own bakery, and you can just buy bread that might have been made there. Or you kind of go look at the shelf, and it's like a library of bread, stack after stack after stack after stack of these plastic sleeves with square breads that are in this giant rectangle. They've been pre-sliced. Sound familiar? Yeah, I grew up with that stuff too. All right. Now, here's the thing. Those breads in a plastic sleeve that's got that little square plastic tie to cinch it, the pre-sliced stuff, tends to last a long time. Who knows how long it's been sitting on that shelf? And even though it's bread, it might have little or no fiber. And fiber is what we're generally looking for as part of most of our diet now in order to be able to feed our gut microbiome, okay? That's our healthy gut bacteria.
White toast, bagels, and breakfast pastries are made from refined wheat that's been stripped of the bran and germ, the very parts that carry most of the fiber and protective nutrients. That makes these foods hit your bloodstream fast, driving sharp glucose and insulin spikes that can worsen inflammation and work against recovery goals. According to a study in the Eurasian Journal of Medicine and Oncology, frequent white bread intake was associated with about a 3.1-fold higher odds of gastric cancer. The relief is simple and doable. Choose 100% whole grain or sprouted breads and check the label for at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. The first ingredient should read whole wheat or sprouted whole grain, not enriched wheat flour. Keep added sugar to 2 grams or less per slice and toast to golden, not dark, to avoid overbrowning. Build savory, steady plates. Whole grain toast with hummus and tomato, or avocado topped with pumpkin seeds for crunch and minerals. If you love bagels, make them rare treats. Pick a whole grain, mini, scoop a bit of the soft center to tame the starch load, and add protein like cottage cheese or smoked tofu. For sensitive teeth or dry mouth, use a thin slice whole grain loaf or a soft sprouted bread and add a drizzle of olive oil to keep it moist. For gluten sensitivity, reach for certified gluten-free whole grain options, buckwheat, millet, or oat. Pairing any toast with protein and healthy fat, eggs, yogurt, legumes, or nuts slows digestion and helps flatten the glucose curve. Up next, The breakfast cereal that can hide a group 1 carcinogen if it's stored the wrong way, plus the storage and sourcing tricks that protect seniors. Risky pick number 3, corn grits, cornflakes, or popcorn stored warm, humid, aflatoxin risk.
We all know that there are foods that are very common that we've all grown up eating that aren't so good for us, right? And, one of the things that I got to say up front is I don't do what a lot of social influencers do. I don't food bash, brand bash. I don't try to shame people for what they eat. Listen, I love some snacks every now and then as much as the next person. And it's totally fine because if you spend most of the time activating your body's healthy systems, the hardwiring, you can afford to take a hit every now and then. It's like just putting some of that crappy gas in your tank every now and then. You're going to bounce right back. We're very, very resilient. That said, I do think it's important for people to understand that, we're beginning to understand why certain foods that are not so good are really bad for you. Okay.
Corn foods can look simple and safe, but warm, humid storage lets molds grow and make aflatoxins, toxins that damage DNA and stress the liver. According to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, aflatoxin B1 is a group 1 human carcinogen strongly linked to liver cancer, and the National Cancer Institute explains that even when crops are tested before sale, what happens in your pantry still matters. The relief is straightforward. Buy smaller bags of cornmeal, grits, or popcorn, transfer them to airtight containers, and store them somewhere cool, dry, and dark. If you live in a humid climate, consider refrigerating or freezing these products in well-sealed containers to keep moisture out. Label the date, rotate stock every 1 to 2 months, and toss anything that smells musty, looks clumpy, or tastes bitter. Favor brands that state they test for mycotoxins, email customer service if the label isn't clear. To cut reliance on corn altogether, rotate in roasted chickpeas, popped sorghum, or crisp breads made from oats, barley, or buckwheat. Stay tuned. Next up is the breakfast bowl with one of the highest glycemic hits seniors pour every day, plus the simple swap that keeps your morning GI low. Risky pick number 4, sugary breakfast cereals, including high GI flakes.
Let's talk about some things that are not so great, that are common for breakfast. Ready? Cereal. Cereal is one of those foods that's kind of low quality fuel. It's ultra processed. They extrude grains, stuff like that, and they add sugar and frosted, adding different kinds of sweetened ingredients to it. Take a look at the side of a cereal box and you'll realize, man, that's not so good. I don't sure I want to put that in my body.
Many boxed cereals hit your system like candy. They're highly processed, sugar-dense, and drive sharp glucose and insulin spikes that can worsen inflammation and sap energy. According to a study in diabetes care, cornflakes often land around a glycemic index of approximately 81, similar to white bread, while minimally processed oat porridges sit far lower, approximately 50 to 55, a difference your pancreas feels. The fix is simple and fast. Choose unsweetened shredded wheat or plain thick cut oats and add natural sweetness with berries, not syrups. Pair any cereal with protein and healthy fat, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, nuts, or seeds, to slow digestion and flatten the glucose curve. And read labels with a hard line on added sugars, keeping total added sugar for the day within your clinician's advice of is less than or equal to 6 to 9 teaspoons. Aim for cereals that list 0 grams added sugar, at least 4 grams fiber per serving, and whole grains as the first ingredient. Toast nuts or sprinkle cinnamon on top for flavor without a spike. If dry mouth or mouth sores are an issue, soften high fiber choices with warm, unsweetened milk, or fortified plant milk, and let the bowl sit a minute before eating. Up next, you'll get the exact shopping and cooking playbook, brand style cues, colors, portions, and the 30-second pantry audit seniors asked for, so breakfast starts helping recovery instead of hurting it. Here's your one look, stick on the fridge guide in plain English. Start most mornings with one of the 4 must-eat bases. Steel-cut oats or thick old-fashioned oats give you the beta-glucan sweet spot when you cook about 1/4 to 1/2 cup dry, roughly 40 to 50 grams. That dose is the amount repeatedly tied to better cholesterol and steadier glucose. Look for steel-cut, Irish, or thick rolled on the label, and if you're gluten sensitive, choose certified gluten-free oats to avoid cross-contact.
Now, beta-D-glucan, the other oat-derived natural bioactive, is known as a soluble fiber. And you've probably already recognized that fibers are good for gut health. But I'll tell you, beta glucan is also found in, for example, mushrooms, also found in barley, also found in rye. So think about rye bread, okay? But beta glucan is also found in oats, as I mentioned to you. Now, researchers in the lab have found that beta glucan is super anti inflammatory. And not only that, beta glucan also lowers cholesterol. So it's good for our blood lipids. And it's a source of dietary fiber from oats that actually feeds our gut microbiome.
Quinoa is your quick protein plus option. Rinse it, simmer 1 part quinoa to 2 parts water for 15 minutes, and use about 1/4 cup dry, 3/4 cup cooked. White quinoa tastes mild. Red and black carry more color and protective plant compounds. Barley brings a second hit of beta glucan. Pick whole barley when you can. Cook 1 part barley to 3 parts water for 40 to 50 minutes, and scoop about 1/2 cup cooked into a bowl. Buckwheat, either kasha or raw groats, cooks in 10 to 12 minutes with a 1 to 2 water ratio. 1/2 cup cooked delivers rutin and magnesium along with a warm, toasty flavor. The 4 breakfast picks to limit or avoid are just as simple. Flavored instant oatmeal packets look heart smart, but act like dessert. The flakes are finely milled. The glycemic index is much higher than steel cut or thick rolled, and the added sugars often run 10 to 15 grams per packet. White toast, bagels, and pastries are made from refined flour that spikes insulin and leaves you hungry again. Use them rarely. Corn grits, cornflakes, and popcorn are fine when fresh and stored well, but warm, humid pantries can let molds grow, so buy small bags, store airtight in a cool, dry spot, and toss anything that smells musty. Sugary, high GI cereals, especially certain flakes, rocket blood sugar and insulin. They're easy to replace with unsweetened shredded wheat or a simple oat bowl topped with berries. Cook like a clinician would recommend and you'll keep the benefits while cutting the risks. Batch cook steel-cut oats for 3 to 4 days and chill them. The thicker cut and bigger particle size help keep the glycemic response lower than instant. If you need a 5-minute breakfast, overnight oats hold onto that gentler blood sugar curve without turning on the stove. For barley, use hulled when you have time. On busy mornings, pearled works in a pinch. Just add an extra serving of fruit or veg to make up for the lost fiber. Quinoa always gets a quick rinse to remove bitterness. Use white for a soft texture or red or black for a bigger polyphenol punch. Buckwheat is your 10-minute champion. Choose kasha for toasty flavor, and if you're buying soba noodles, look for 100% buckwheat or jawari on the label to avoid wheat. If rice appears at breakfast, say kanji, favor California grown, Thai jasmine, or Indian basmati and cook it pasta style in plenty of water, then drain. That simple method lowers arsenic meaningfully at the stove. And if corn shows up in your pantry, storage is everything. Cool, dry, airtight, and bought in small quantities you'll actually finish. Think in fear and relief beats as you shop. If breakfast spikes insulin, energy will crash by mid-morning, yet a steel-cut bowl steadies that in minutes. If storage is warm and humid, corn snacks can carry unwanted toxins. Yet one airtight container on a cool shelf diffuses that risk. If mornings are hectic, overnight oats preserve that low glycemic advantage while saving time. Here's a simple, senior-friendly 7-day rotation you can repeat.
I love adding healthy things to my healthy oatmeal. So here's some suggestions. Berries, strawberries, blueberries. Strawberries have ellagic acid, anti-inflammatory, good for your metabolism. Blueberries have anthocyanins, anti-inflammatory, good for your metabolism. They both cut off the blood supply, feeding cancers. What's not to like about that? They're also good for our stem cells to help us heal. And you can actually add some crushed nuts if you want to use this as an opportunity to add some tree nuts to your oatmeal. Pistachios, walnuts, hazelnuts. Those are all great things to add to oatmeal. And you can add some cut fruit. Now, what I do is I sort of think about cut fruits like kiwi or mango or peaches. Whatever is actually seasonal, you can actually add that on top of the oatmeal. If you want it a little sweet, okay, I do not put added cane sugar. Don't put stevia. Don't put these artificial sweeteners. Fruit actually is a great way of sweetening it. And if you want to sweeten just a little bit more, add just a touch of maple syrup. All right, like grade A amber maple syrup, just a little bit. Stir it in there. You'll get a little bit of that sweet hit, And it'll actually work really nicely with the oatmeal. And that's the way to actually have oatmeal. So,
Day 1. A cozy bowl of steel-cut oats topped with blueberries and pumpkin seeds, beta-glucan plus polyphenols in 1 spoon. Day 2. A red quinoa breakfast bowl with a dollop of plain yogurt and strawberries, complete-style plant protein with gentle fiber. Day 3. Hulled barley porridge with cinnamon and diced pear, steady blood sugar and a second serving of beta-glucan. Day 4. Warm buckwheat groats with sautéed apples and a few walnuts, rutin, magnesium, and satisfying crunch. Day 5. Overnight oats with chia and cinnamon, no stove convenience with a low glycemic response. Day 6. Savory white quinoa bowl with sautéed spinach, a poached egg, olive oil, and lemon, protein, greens, and healthy fat. Day 7. Muesli made from chilled cooked barley mixed with unsweetened yogurt, berries, and pumpkin seeds, cool, creamy, and fiber-rich. If you prefer rice porridge on any day, make it with the pasta method and rotate your rice sources as noted above. Do a 30-second pantry audit tonight and lock these habits in. Put daily keepers, steel-cut oats, thick rolled oats, hulled barley, buckwheat, and quinoa on the top shelf where you'll see them first. Place sometimes grains like California basmati or Thai jasmine rice and sprouted whole grain bread on the middle shelf. Move red flag items, flavored instant packets, sugary cereals, refined white bread, pastries, and any corn products if your kitchen runs warm, to the bottom shelf so they're out of reach. Add masking tape portion notes on jars. Oats 1/4 to 1/2 cup dry, barley 1/2 cup cooked, quinoa 1/4 cup dry, buckwheat 1/2 cup cooked. So you hit the fiber and beta-glucan targets without guessing. Store cornmeal, grits, and popcorn in airtight containers, and toss anything stale or musty. Tape a rice reminder near the stove. Boil like pasta and drain. Small cues prevent big mistakes. Why this matters for cancer support is straightforward. This plan favors an angiogenesis-friendly, inflammation-calming pattern. Beta-glucans from oats and barley for lipids and glucose control. Colorful polyphenols from berries, buckwheat rutin, and red or black quinoa to buffer oxidative stress. And 2 practical safety habits, safer rice cooking and smart corn storage, to lower avoidable exposures. It doesn't replace medical care, it stacks the deck for your body's defenses to work as designed. A few common questions come up. Are instant oats always off limits? No, plain instant can be a backup, but the glycemic hit is higher and flavored packets are essentially dessert. Is white rice banned? Not if you choose lower arsenic types occasionally and cook them in excess water, then drain. Can oats or buckwheat cure cancer? No, they support lipids, glucose, inflammation, and gut health, important systems during and after treatment, but they are not treatments. If your storage is excellent, is corn safe? Good storage lowers risk, and many suppliers test. Still, rotate grains and avoid keeping corn products in warm, humid spots. Your morning playbook is simple. Pick a base, oats, barley, quinoa, or buckwheat. Set the portion, oats 1/4 to 1/2 cup dry, quinoa 1/4 cup dry, barley or buckwheat 1/2 cup cooked. Add fruit for polyphenols and seeds or nuts for minerals and healthy fats, and season with cinnamon or vanilla instead of sugar. If rice is on the menu, remember the pasta method. If corn is in the pantry, keep it cool, dry, and in small bags you'll finish. A 1-minute example. Scoop 3/4 cup overnight oats, add 1/2 cup berries, a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, and a dusting of cinnamon. Done, and you've already hit the fiber targets that matter most. A quick success story shows how this looks in real life. Maria, 62 in post-treatment, swapped white toast for buckwheat porridge twice a week, chose steel-cut oats the other weekdays, saved rice for Sundays cooked pasta style, and moved cornmeal into an airtight jar. Within 6 weeks, her mornings felt steadier, cravings faded, and sleep improved. Her clinician was pleased with the direction of her glucose and lipid trends, exactly what you'd expect when beta-glucan and lower GI breakfasts replace refined starts. Tomorrow morning, choose your base, set your portion, add fruit and seeds, skip the sugar, and tape the pantry audit steps inside a cabinet door. These small, repeatable choices make breakfast work for you: steadier energy, calmer inflammation, and a gentler start to the day. Coordinate with your care team, keep portions consistent if you take medicines that interact with vitamin K or thyroid function, and adjust calories up or down based on your goals. 4 simple keepers and 2 safety habits can move you toward the steadier mornings and stronger days you deserve.